introduce yourself, the character you'll be playing, and describe them very briefly.
My name's Katherine McIndoe. I'm a soprano and I'm singing the role of Kupava in Rimsky-Korsakov's The Snowmaiden. She is not the Snowmaiden, she's another maiden from the village, and her story is all about falling in love, getting dumped, and then finding love again.
What can we expect to see in this production of The Snowmaiden?
I think you can expect a fairy tale, quite a dark fairy tale, but a fairy tale. You can expect folk dancing, you can expect the accordion on stage, you can expect some epic, big rushing choruses, and some really delicate, beautiful moments, and a real kind of exploration of love and life and heartbreak.
What makes this adaptation so special?
This is, it's the thing about fairy tales, isn't it? That, every culture has fairy tales because they teach us so much about humanity. And in this case, I think this opera, the music is wonderful. It's incredibly compelling. It's both super big scale, dramatic music, but also very, very intimate and beautiful. And I think in this version, we've kind of taken it slightly out of its very, Russian folk setting and made it slightly more ambiguous, so you can sort of see yourself in it very easily. The characters are very real. The story is very, even though it's fantastical, it's very kind of compelling. So I think, and it's in English as well, so I think there are lots of reasons why we, as a modern audience, can find so much in it to kind of relate to.
What will the audience be surprised or in awe by?
Ooh, I think it will be the scale of this production. It will be very striking because it's a very beautiful design that's been done. The costumes are gorgeous, and then there are these amazing choruses where the whole ensemble, the whole orchestra, everyone is kind of in unison with no amplification, and it's so powerful. We have these big, it's kind of a big invocation to the sun, and it's a kind of very embodied cry upwards. And I think that for anyone in the room, us on stage, but also the audience, it's very, very moving and very exciting. And I think that will be kind of one of those moments when you hear that for the first time.
What is the music like? A very open question.
Yeah. So Rimsky-Korsakov, well, he said it was his favourite of his operas that he wrote, and it's definitely got its roots in Russian folk music. A lot of the melodies are, folk songs that Russian people would know now. But then his kind of style, it's very kind of lush. There's a lot of real light and shade in it, I think, and so you kind of get these very upbeat dances and this very kind of hummable tune kind of thing, but then you also get these very dramatic, very kind of romantic, soaring strings kind of moments as well. So it's really an opera that has a lot of stuff in it, a lot of stuff in the music, and a lot of different colours and light and shade. Yeah.
Can you tell us more about the themes and the story of The Snowmaiden?
So, The Snowmaiden it's a fairy tale that focuses on this girl. She's kind of not quite human because she has this heart of ice, but she wants to be human. And so that's kind of, it's her story and we're all part of that world. And the story is really about finding yourself, finding love, finding a passion and a joy for life. And for her, that's harder because she doesn't have a heart, so she has to find this. And part of the way she does this is through the humans, the people in the village who kind of exemplify that for her. So it's a story about, my character's story is about falling in love, being rejected and kind of humiliated, but then having to realizing that life moves on, and that's kind of the overarching story of this opera is the cycle between the seasons, from harsh winter to glorious summer, and that this kind of regenerative cycle as well between love and heartbreak and rebirth. And it's a really intimate story about these characters' journeys, but it's also a story about love and about life and about how to love life, even in adverse circumstances. So there's a lot in it.
And then, what is your personal favourite part of the Snowmaiden?
Well, I'm tempted to say there's a section in the folk dance that is called the Song of the Beaver, which in the music has a character who's meant to be dancing around like a beaver. In this version, we're not quite doing that so much, but I think I love the folk. The folk dancing is definitely a highlight for me. There's this feature of this accordion on stage played by Phil Wilcox, one of our chorus members, which I love. And then also for me, I think Fionn Edwards, who's singing Snowmaiden, she has, I think we were talking earlier about, like if little kids who love Frozen come to this, I think they're all going to be like about Fionn because she kind of is like a Disney princess and her singing is so beautiful, and the Snowmaiden's kind of final scene when she realizes all these things and it all kind of comes together and she finally experiences love. It's some of the most beautiful music and it like gives me chills, and I think that there's so much fun in it, but in that moment is so moving and so beautiful. I think that's my favorite.
What would you say to a first-time opera goer about the Snowmaiden?
I would say that it's a fairy tale. It's like every fairy tale that you grew up reading and watching. It's about magic, it's about love, and just be open to that, and don't let the opera name scare you, because it's just storytelling with music, and with amazing music, brilliant singing, brilliant orchestral playing, and this kind of incredibly epic, large-scale production to go with it. So just enter into it, follow the story, it's in English, you'll know what we're talking about, and enjoy.
Why do you think opera is still important to this day?
I think opera is such a unique sort of vehicle for delivering story and delivering ideas, and it's always been kind of an art form that has it's been very connected to the time and place that it's come from. So, it used to be has been for a long time, a very political tool, and as well as like a comedic tool, and all these things through opera. I think people think maybe there's a stereotype of it being kind of old music that you can't understand in a language that you can't understand, which I do. I get that, but I would say that the way that opera uses the unamplified human voice and uses this kind of style of storytelling on stage, there's something very human about that, and it's not so much about the style of music, it's about the connection and the storytelling. And I think I've done quite a lot of work for like opera for kids, and you think kids are going to be like boo straight away, but they're not. They love it because they don't have any preconceptions. They get straight into the core of like what we're trying to say, what we're trying to tell them. They're very critical. If they don't get it, they tell you that. But they connect with it, and they listen to it, and they listen to the words, and they take on the story. And that to me shows that opera is here to stay. It's always going to be something that people can be entertained by. That makes them cry, it makes them laugh. It really does have so much story in it.